Well, I believe that with the change, even if I'm only one, I know that I can lead the way. Cause I've seen it and I've been there, had to face it the hard way. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Elevated Podcast. It's your girl, Rena. Today, I am joined with one of my really good friends. She's also worked with the Elevated team for some time now. She's an amazing woman of many, many talents, going through many, many changes right now. We'll get into all of that, but I'll allow her to introduce herself as well. Destiny, welcome to the Elevated Podcast. Thank you for being here. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How about you?
I'm good.
I'm happy to be here. I'm already out of breath. But my name is Destiny. I'm the CEO of D-Nasty Beauty World. I do nails. I write. I'm just everything, beauty, fashion, hair, all of that.
All those things. A woman of many talents. We love to see it. So how are you feeling this morning? I know you're going through a lot of different changes right now. I know you also said you're feeling a little bit out of breath. Do you want to let the audience in on what's been going on in your life?
Yeah, so guys, I'm 9 weeks pregnant. My first baby. I'm so excited. I'm always sleeping
Your
tired.
first baby. We're having an elevated baby. I'm excited.
Yes.
How do you feel?
Nervous, happy,
All the emotions.
excited, and I don't think it's really kicked in for me yet because I'm not really showing. You were
saying that you're I haven't reached the fun part yet, which is when you're really showing and stuff.
Yeah, sometimes I lay in bed and I'm like, you really there? Or are we just playing?
Do you talk to your baby? All the time? You be looking at your baby and
I talk to myself every day. So yes, the baby will be talked to every day too. But I think I'll have a bit more excitement and engagement once I really start showing. Because it doesn't really feel any different right now. But as I further along, I expect it to change. So
I've congratulated you before so many times off camera, but congratulations. This is such a big different change, and I know it's going to be a huge adjustment, but I know that you are somebody who exudes and has so much love to give. So I know that this experience for you is only going to bring that side out even more, I see it. So how has the transition and the change and everything been, especially with you are an independent nail tech and stuff? I know we've talked a little bit of how with time, you might have to slow down with it because there's harsh chemicals in nails and just all of that. How has that shift been?
Well, ever since I found out, I kind of knew that as long as I'm not having any adverse reactions or anything, that I'll continue to do nails. But I already have a plan that I'm gonna dial back a little bit as far as certain services, just because I'm insanely tired. I sleep a lot more now. A little bit irritable, and I just don't feel like I'm at the highest performance all the time. So cutting my hours back, cutting services down, but I also didn't want to completely give up on it because I'm one of those people, I can't sit idle. So I was like, I don't want to cut my way too soon. So I was want to ease into things.
So with that, you're just like me, where it's you want to stay active, you want to stay busy, do all the things. Are you falling more into your writing now, would you say?
Absolutely.
Because you are an amazing writer. Destiny has actually helped me, even with my write-ups before. We got featured in the DMV Daily, and Destiny actually put together that whole piece of writing. I sent her all the information and stuff, and it turned out amazing. So just to give you guys an insight on that side of Destiny as well, would you say that now perhaps this is something that you're going to be falling deeper into, since that's something that you can do from the comfort of your home and it's just you and your laptop, just scripting, writing, all of that?
Yeah, so I think everything right now is kind of in alignment. My pregnancy wasn't planned, but I've been away from writing for a little while. Actually, your press release was probably the most recent thing I've written this year. And after finishing that, I was like, okay, maybe I should get back into the swing of things.
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah.
Writing the press release?
So, yeah, it just kind of propelled me back into what I enjoyed most. And I'm currently working on a project now, helping a young lady in Michigan who wants to write a book about her and her son. Her son is on the autism spectrum. And so there's just not a lot of literature, especially for Black people either, that are
Yeah.
on the spectrum
I think
about their
that's
experiences and
It's
things
very
like that.
important for sure. I think I've told you before. My sister, she works with kids on the spectrum. She's a BCBA therapist, so I've definitely been more exposed and open to all of that. But I definitely do believe that it isn't something that is really talked about. Like people, even parents, you know, they kind of like want to be more hush about it. And it's like if we just embrace these things and bring more light to it, then it can become something that is just a natural, normal thing, you know? So, how do you feel being in that position now where you get to write a piece of literature on that subject? It's a book or?
So we don't know Angle yet as far as like how she wants to go about it, but from the samples I've received from her, I think it's going to be more of like a memoir or a personal essay to have like a personal tone to it instead of it being like you should do X, Y, Z. Like we're just going to go from I don't know if she wants to do chronological, but I think she's probably going to talk briefly about how their relationship is right now and then reach back. And then what a lot of people don't know about me as a writer is that normally when you have a writer, you have somebody that writes and then the person that edits and prepares for a publication is a different person.
Mm-hmm.
But I can do both.
Oh,
And
so
the
is that the approach you're about to take?
Yeah, so like the last time I had a long-standing project with someone else's work was in 2018. So I've been away from it for a little while. It feels good to jump back into it. So I think this project is definitely going to take a lot out of me. It's probably going to take about like a year to complete as far as writing, preparing for a publication, deciding if she wants to publish through a publishing house or if she wants to self-publish. There's so many layers.
Because when it comes with publications, I know that you're skilled in that as well. So does that include like putting the book on like Amazon, putting it, or even in Barnes and Nobles? Like, do you do digital publications or like also like in stores?
So with clients, I really like I ask them what their goal is. Like, do they want to write something that they can share amongst their family or friends, or do they want to make what they're writing accessible to any and all? And you know, there's some like for example, for me when I'm reading, I'm not really a fan of like Kindle and stuff like that. I like feeling like the ritual of reading, like feeling the paper,
Like the
turning the
experience
page.
of actually like sitting with your book.
Yeah, but you know, everyone's different. So
Yeah.
I asked my client, I'm like, you know, you have many avenues where how you could do this. It's just really about what you want to do and what's your end goal. So like I spend a lot of time consulting. That's like my first phase. Just to one, see where you need my help. And if you've ever written anything before or you've not written anything before, I always require a writing sample. Even if you've never done it before or you're nervous or whatever, I just want to see how you think and how you articulate yourself so I can make sure that even with my help, you still have your authentic voice.
I love that because basically she's kind of writing up the message she wants to get across, and you're just putting it in that professional standpoint to get it across to the listener. That's pretty cool. Would you say that when you're writing these stories, it probably requires like a level of empathy to actually like be in that person's shoes? Do you take on that person's energy in a sense?
It depends. If they need more of like finding their voice and they need my help with that, I like to have them talk about the event to me. And then from there, I'll kind of just put language together. But if they know what they want to say and can write, I just kind of put it together in a way that it makes sense and that's not like super wordy.
Yeah, like I know for me, so like just like picking up on the energy, like for me when I'm in the studio and I'm helping songwrite for another artist, there are times where I have to put myself in that person's position where like I'm feeling the things that they may have went through as I'm helping them write this song. So even with that, like you're writing a story for a mother with her son who is on the spectrum, and she's sharing her experience of, you know, what it's been like, probably raising her child, everything she's gone through, with you being a new mother in the world. Like, I know you're 9 weeks pregnant, but you are a mom, and that's something that you're going to be going through. The empath level that I'm on, like, I get emotional because I feel things so deeply. Like, looking at her literature when she sends it to you and like you start writing, do you feel her feelings, especially now being a mom?
Well, personally, as a writer, I don't assist with things I don't
You have
actually
to have
feel.
that connection.
I don't actually
Like,
feel
point
it.
blank, period. If the connection isn't there, you more than likely aren't gonna do it.
Yeah, I'm not I can't be as helpful if I can't relate.
Yeah.
So, there has to be a connection with whatever it is that I'm putting out there or helping you put out there, or else I can't. I just can't help you really hone in on the pathos, because that's a lot of people read not just for information, but the way that makes them feel. And
Yeah.
and if I can't put myself in your shoes, I'm gonna have a hard time coming across that when I'm helping you articulate what you're trying to say. So there has to be something there for me to want to do it.
So now with this project, do you see yourself taking on more, or would you rather just like give full dedication to one piece?
As far as anything that's like a book, I try to do one client at a time, but smaller pieces like a press release
Those are
or
other things you could probably like
those
take
things
on.
don't take as much time. But books, I really try to do one client at a time, just because I don't want the person to feel rushed. I don't want to feel rushed. I want to be able to give as much time and attention as I possibly can
Yeah.
to the work.
So what's in the cards for you? Do you see yourself writing your own book?
I actually have already written my own books.
Published? It's out and
I
everything?
haven't published.
Okay, 'cause I was gonna say, wait, hold
that's
up. Why
the-
didn't I buy it? Why haven't I gotten it?
That's the thing. I have new things to add. So
Yeah.
like I have an arsenal of all of everything I've ever written.
So you slowly started building it, but as time progresses, you're going back and like you're adding more to the book. Do you have like a timeline on when you want to eventually release it?
It's just not my main focus right now. I normally let my project speak to me. If it seems like it's in alignment, or that if it feels like something that I need to put out right then and there, then it's nothing to prepare it for publishing. But right now, I feel that I should focus on other people's work right now.
With your focus now being writing for other clients and things like that, do you enjoy writing more or do you enjoy doing nails more?
I enjoy writing more. Writing is the only thing that
that
does
was
not
quick.
feel like a job. That is something that I can wake up and do every day and never get tired of it.
Really? Okay.
That is like my burning passion. The first time I ever wrote anything was in kindergarten. So like that's something that I've spent a lot of time cultivating and doing. At first it was a hobby for me. I didn't really like understand the level of my gift.
Yeah. I mean, you started writing in kindergarten, and just yesterday I had like this Christmas friends get together that we had did with my girl, and one of the girls was saying how one of her dreams has always been like music, singing, dancing, all those things. But lately she's just like, I don't know how to get back into that. Like, I don't know how to break through and do that. And, you know, she's working in like the corporate world and all that now. And I told her, when we are 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, that's when we do know our true purpose. And I told her, consider what you were doing at that age, and whatever you were doing there, it's probably what you were meant to do, because then you go into society, you're told you can't do these things, projection, all those things. So for you, you know for a fact at the age of 5, like kindergarten time, you were already writing. So would you say like in that moment, obviously you're a kid, but did you feel something in your spirit that was like, you know, this is what I love to do?
It started off as a real bad hobby for me. So like my mom would buy me journals all the time and leave them laying around, and I would just write whenever I felt. I didn't really take writing seriously until my second semester of senior year in high school. I completely changed my trajectory. Like at first I was like, oh, I'm going to go to UNC Chapel Hill. I'm going to be a psych major. And then I don't know. I just, something clicked for me. I ended up attending art school, Savannah College Art and
Yeah.
Design, and that's just when it became very clear to me that this is something that I really should hone in on and like not just see it as a hobby. It's something I'm actually really good at.
Yeah.
It's just I didn't see myself that way at that time. So it was just fun for a while.
What piece of advice would you give to somebody who's out there that maybe they do journal every morning? Like someone like me, I love waking up and writing my affirmations, writing my goals, talking to myself. Like journaling is definitely my thing. And there's been times, like I know during the pandemic, where I started script writing. Like I wanted to do my own little films. Like that's like a dream that I have long term. But it's so foreign to me because I don't fully understand how all of that works. And I wouldn't say that I'm like a journalist at all because it's not my line of work. But for somebody that would be interested in it and maybe does want to take it seriously and they do treat it as a hobby, what kind of advice could you give them so that they could actually like take it seriously and like pursue a potential career in journalism?
Writing doesn't really have a lot of rules until you start putting it out.
Okay.
Your voice is something you cultivate on your own. No one can teach you how to write. People can teach you different techniques. People can show you other people's writing and you can be inspired, but I don't think the actual act of writing, especially in a creative way, is something that's taught. Like you either have it or you don't.
So in English, in high school, they teach you, parentheses and commas and verbiage and all these things. Are you saying that those things don't necessarily matter? Because if you're a creative writer, you
because,
can just make it your own?
Those things are for grammar purposes. You having a voice and articulating it from pen to paper or typing, however you put it out there, that is you. You do not have to be someone that's always grammatically correct. You don't have to know how to spell. Like, I think a lot of people limit themselves at thinking that they have to be perfect. Like,
Yeah.
you don't. You just have to be able to articulate yourself. You can get an editor. You can get someone to look over your work and, make it grammatically correct. But as far as the essence, the voice, like, no one can give that to you.
Yeah.
Like, you
So
have to...
it's more important to just write and get your message across in the purest form that aligns with you. It's not necessarily like making sure that the punctuation, the grammar, and all those things are up to standard.
Because all those things can be fixed by someone else.
Yeah.
And then also, I like to say that writing is a muscle. For you to get better at it, you have to do it more. Mm-hmm. And the further you are away from it, you lose some of that muscle. Like, so for example, I have a 4-year hiatus of where I didn't write anything.
You said 2018 is the last time.
So,
do you feel like you were a little like rusty coming back? Like you had to like pick it back up?
not to toot my own horn, but I kind of pick up wherever I left off.
Okay.
Like I'm very
smooth.
I'm very aware of my voice and how I want to articulate things. But if I had taken that hiatus when I didn't really know myself as a writer, then that probably would have affected my quality a little bit. But because I know who I am when I'm writing, it's just really easy to jump back into it.
That's awesome. So like what's the plan with the writing now? So I know we were talking about like the DMV Daily, that press release that we did with them. Could you see yourself working with like a big blogging page or channel or something like that? Or do you see yourself more so like independently writing?
I think I would like to independently write, because the thing that I feel that we've lost with journalism is that nobody cares about telling the truth. A lot of people just care about being first. And for me, that's not my motivation for writing.
Wait, sorry, I want to touch on that a little bit. When you say people want to be first, like writers, they want to be first? Like they want to be, what do you mean by the first?
Well, you were asking me about blogging. Mm-hmm. And that encompasses a whole lot of different type of writers. And, with blogging, people want to be first.
I see what you mean. Like getting the story out first?
Yeah.
Like the headline.
Yeah, for example, when Kobe Bryant died.
everyone's like scrambling. First of all, rest in peace, Kobe. But
Right.
everyone's like scrambling around to get this story out.
Be the first to confirm,
Yeah.
like, you know, and I feel that while I understand why the framework is like that now, because people are so used to being in the know, being in the loop.
That can probably create desensitization though, no? Like wanting to like get on something so quick to the point where you're not even able to process what just happened. Like I wanted to do public relations. I know you touched on public relations too. That's like I wanted to do public relations at one point, which was like news and media. Like I saw myself doing journalism work, but like news reporting. And now looking back at it, I mean, I think it's a great line of work. Like that's probably something that I could have been great at and I could have had a lot of fun with. But I see what you mean. When you're a news reporter, sometimes it's like you just want to break the story first. Like who's going to have the most interesting one, do it the quickest. So
And then
I feel that.
for me, I've never felt the need to be first. I want to be right. I want to be accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And that's more important to me than being first.
Yeah. Just being purposeful and intentional with everything.
Yeah. So if I'm so focused on hurrying up and being the first, my quality suffers from that.
Yeah.
There's inaccuracies, which you can see when we're posting online, when people just want to hurry up
I mean,
and get it out
we
there.
come across certain stuff all the time and we're like, geez, like the grammar. Not even the grammar though. It's more so like it'll
Putting
be
the wrong person's name or...
yeah, like it just the story isn't fully lining up and adding up because you can just tell it's like they quickly were just trying to get this out and it's like, come on. But I love that about you because I feel like I'm very much like that too. I know like we both take on a lot, but we try to be as intentional and pure and clear with everything that we're doing because then, I mean, you do have to do double the work at that point. Like you fumbled in certain areas and now you got to go back and clean it up. It definitely can affect the overall quality of a project.
And then also like my motivations as a writer, I don't really want, I mean I can, but I don't really want to talk about sensationalized content. I want to talk about things that people don't really know.
Yes.
Or is right under their nose or have not really thought of. Because I feel like those kinds of stories need the same type of attention as everything else.
We're very similar in that sense too because I know for me as well, even like mainstream media, and that's what I was saying, headlines and stuff like that. It is like everyone is trying to push the same thing, the same narrative, and it's like there's so many other things going on in the world that need to be spoken about too, like things that are important. What would you say are some important subjects, topics to you that we need to shine more light on, that you may potentially, you know, do your part with your line of work, with the writing, that you want to bring more light to?
Culture. I feel like we don't talk about each of our cultures authentically.
Yeah.
I think we're under a lens of what it looks like or what it sounds like, but not what it is. So that's one big, heavy thing for me. Outside of that, then the things that are important to me, I'm a Black queer woman. So like marginalized groups are always going to be groups that I want to emphasize and showcase.
Definitely.
I just, whatever is on my mind and my heart at that time, whatever I am currently in, or maybe not me in, but maybe I have a friend that talked to me about something that's important to them, or they vented to me about something they're going through. And if I look up the topic and I can't find something that's relatable or that there's a lot of literature about it, then that becomes more important to me because it's just like, we should be able to have access to literature for anything under the sun.
Absolutely.
There are so many people who have a way with words, that have a voice, that are actively in the things that they're talking about. It's just we don't showcase. I don't want to say showcase. Let's say I don't think we represent every group well.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And there's platforms like these, you know, this one right here. I'm trying to do the same thing, is like allow people to come on and be able to have a voice and speak their mind, speak their truth. And I love that you said that about culture too, because it is important for all of us to be able to embrace our culture, our individuality, and consider our roots. Like that's something that does tend to get stripped away from us too. Like we tend to fall out of touch with our own culture, and that shit's important. So
and I just feel like, you know, if you want people who are outside of your culture to understand you, you need to have things in writing about what it is and what isn't. Because like a lot of us work on just stereotypes or
surface,
very very narrow examples
Yeah.
of what we think represents someone's entire culture.
Yeah, I think things have become very surface, and we need more stuff like that to create in-depth substance to, you know, continue bringing more light to situations. I know something that you battle with as well, that I've been there too, is like anxiety as well. Just taking care of mental wellness and stuff like that. That's another thing as well, where it's like very surface, you know, people are just running on autopilot and aren't taking the time to actually look into those things, or even doing the healing, doing the inner work as well. And that ties into that too. Like those are certain things that I believe we have to continue doing our part to bring light to those situations too. So I really love everything that you're trying to do as far as creating more substantial work and content. Like that is the whole thing. Even longer based content like this, it teaches people to slow down, being mindful, and actually appreciate stuff like that, rather than just, I saw this headline, this is the story that it is, and I'm just gonna run with that. And it's like, no, like there's more to everything.
Yeah, and I feel like to piggyback off of what you were saying about anxiety, my anxiety and depression has affected my craft as well. There are, you know, a lot of people who don't write. They're like, oh, well, you know, you can use that as an avenue to like, as an outlet. And it's just like, sometimes my anxiety or depression is so crippling. Like I get writer's block, or I just feel very uninspired.
I mean, I've been in a slight creative block myself with the music lately. Like normally I'm like writing, whipping music out like nothing, and I've kind of been in that place too, where I'm like I try to write, but then when it feels like work, I don't want it to feel like work.
And
just like you were saying, it should be fun.
I think that's the hard thing about the commercialization of art, is that a lot of creators, artists really feel like they have to constantly
That
be
pressure.
on a schedule to push out things, and it's just like creativity does not work on a line time. I mean a timeline, sorry. And it's not linear. So like when you feel inspired, when you feel something, then you can create. And I feel like a lot of artists feel guilty if there's too much time between their projects. And it's just like, if you're doing it for the craft, if you're doing it for because you love to do it, it's something that you're good at doing, do not get hung up in someone else's timeline. Or feel that you're unproductive just because you aren't producing at someone else's level.
That's actually great advice, like what you're saying right now, because for me, there are times where certain areas of my life, I don't find as much passion and drive for it. And I think it's good, even with you, the fact that you have so many different passions and outlets of creativity is a beautiful thing, because I'm sure there's times where you might get writer's block and you're like, you know what, I can just do some nails today. Or like with me, for example, like I haven't been able to write and go to the studio and do music the way that I typically would. Like there's times where I'm just boom, 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 like I said. But I like the fact that I can, you know, pour into my podcast, or just, so that's like an advice that I want to share with the audience too, that if you are experiencing some form of creative block, or just feeling like you're being unproductive in a certain area, just find closure in knowing that it's okay to slow down. It's okay to sit. Actually, it's a good thing to sit, because sometimes you need to just sit in your own energy and just enjoy the fact that things are still for that moment, or even using that time to tap into other things that may bring more passion and life out of you.
And then you gotta realize that your best work is not gonna come from you stressing about.
Yeah, you never want to force. The moment something feels forced, it's like it's no longer in flow. Like things need to feel fluid. So I definitely agree with you on that. All right, guys, we are going to be wrapping up the episode soon to a close. I hope you guys found great value in everything we had to share today. Destiny, thank you so much for joining us. I do want to ask you, what's next? What's in store? What do you want to leave the audience with? How do you feel?
Well, first, I want to thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Giving me a space and platform to just say what's on my brain. But as far as the audience, I just... whatever your niche is, whatever drives you to the next day, make time for it. You don't have to make a whole lot of time for it, but fit it somewhere in your lifestyle. Because like I was saying, like writing for me is a muscle. And I just feel that whatever your gift is your muscle. And if you aren't using it, you'll lose it. Or you'll lose...
Very true.
Or you'll lose sight of why you wanted to do it in the first place. And I just feel like that can apply to across different industries. So whatever makes you want to get up in the morning and do what you do, spend time with it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Gotta train every day, just like your muscles. Gotta keep it going, keep training. But alrighty, love. Thank you so much for joining me today, spending this morning with me. We're going to make sure that we tag all of your @handles on here as well so everybody can follow you. Do you have a specific page like for your writing and stuff? Can we be on the lookout for something like that?
So I am not going to have any social media that is for my writing. So my plan is that... I want to have a holding company, which will be under Dynasty Beauty. But because a lot of the things that I like to do are not all in the same industry or they don't overlap, I want to have different LLCs for different things. Okay, and when I'm writing, unless I'm ghostwriting or I develop a pseudonym at some point, I want everything to be under my actual name. So I know, like, for
That's
writing,
some good business advice. So,
just not even just for copyright issues, but also just I don't want to be a brand that's writing. I want to be a person that's writing. So that distinction for me, like, I need those things to be separate. That makes sense.
So you're gonna have this holding company. Are you gonna plan to do like a website or something? Just so everyone knows, like, where we can find your writing and stuff, like, long term.
Yeah, I do want to develop a landing page for all of my writing services. I just want to make sure I legitimize certain things first before I put that out there. So maybe I'll have an Instagram account, but I don't know as of right now how I would angle that as a writer, because I write so many different kinds of things.
Yeah.
I don't know how I could angle that, but if I found a way to do it where it made sense, then I would definitely have a social media account attached to that.
Yeah. Well, this podcast episode is going to be dropping in a few weeks. So if we do have anything as far as like the writing stuff, your Twitter, stuff like that, we'll definitely plug it in here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Destiny, for joining us. We hope you loved it, and we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks.
I'm just saying, y'all, if we want to see a change, we gotta be that change. Be better for our children, better for the next generations to come. They're the ones up next, only hope we got left.